The path of the beast is the ruin of humanity. We shed the veneer of civilization like winter antlers. We slake our thirsts and bury our teeth in the entrails of the weak. There is no enlightenment, only strength, and there is no hope, only hunger. Psalm 17 of the Revelations of the Beast. The beast has always been there. Kingdoms rise and topple, but the beast remains. It was there before man came to the wild places, and it is said that it will be there long after they are gone. In the ages when men prostrated themselves before graven images, they trembled before the beast. From the goat-headed Fomorians of Era and the werewolves of Livonia to the Rakasa of India, the darkest tales of mankind tell of half-beasts with an unnatural craving for human flesh. But time ebbed and flowed, and the servants of the beast retreated before the march of civilization. As the world embraced the words of the prophets in the light of salvation, writing laws in tablets of stone and holy books, the path of the beast lay hidden in the trackless wilds of the world. The path was kept alive in the memory of those ancient ways, in the revelations that had prophesied the return of the beast from both land and sea. Long did the memory of the dark cult lie dormant at the edge of nightmares, slumbering in dreamless sleep, kept alive only in eroded idols brought from beyond the stars that dimmed eons ago. Then the Hellgate was opened in 1099, and the beast stirred from its slumber. Awake once more, it found the world overrun with the hated children of Yahweh, and shackled with rules, law and order, and morality. But with the Hellmouth spewing its unholy fumes that spread across the world, it swung the balance of power in favor of the beast. Remnants of its children, though few in number, prowled from the hiding places to enact a great and powerful plan. They were to go forth and multiply, and their new adherents would come from the ranks of the children of God. Finding converts proved far easier than one might think. The beast found that not all humans were well suited to withstand the grinding pressure and deprivation of the Great War. Grief for lost loved ones and unrelenting fear were ever present for most people. Veterans returned from the front crippled in mind and body, haunted by the terrors of warfare. Alcohol and opiates offered only a brief respite to those who sought their aid. Hunger and poverty under the heavy burden of war taxes sapped many a will to live. In their hearts, a great many wished they could forget their troubles altogether and live a life without fear. So when the moon grew fat, the hymns of the feral nymphs could be heard, their siren songs luring many to forbidden forests and desolate mountains where the children of the beast awaited them. No one is truly immune to the seductive call of the beast. There is always a seed of doubt in even the most stalwart of minds. When the men and women came as sleepwalkers to the idols of the beast, they found themselves surrounded by feral gleaming eyes in the dark, and sibilant whispers offering them a choice. Unlike Beelzebub's black grail, which takes its victims by force, or the yoke of slavery of the court, the beast wants mortals to willingly renounce their claim of being the image of God, and turn their backs on the promise of salvation. And many willingly knelt before the altars of the beast to become supplicants, the lowliest of the followers of the path. Once accepted, there is no turning back. This, then, is the path of the beast. The unraveling of the cohesion of their bodies and the loss of divine inheritance. Freed from the shackles of laws and with morals thrown aside, replaced by howling and killing and reveling in joy. The great gift of the beast to its followers is the bliss of oblivion. All past anguish and shame is lost, replaced by the wild thrill of the hunt. The cost is to be beyond salvation, and be both the hunter and the hunted, to wage feral war against order and laws of both men and God. Each supplicant, no matter how high or low, is marked by bestial runes carved on their naked skin with obsidian knives during the revelries of the beast as they are initiated to the path. When the packs of the path gather together, these symbols burn and bleed, reacting to the presence of different runes, bringing forth great and terrible hidden powers within them. A clever pack leader knows how to organize its followers so that they may gain the most suitable dark blessing to be called forth in battle, combining the runes to form words of power. Each fork of the path leads the supplicant to a different end. Most become half-bestial creatures, their will insufficient to take them all the way into full beasthood. They are half-breeds with beast heads and claws emerging from their flesh, which they shed as a wolf sheds its coat. They are plagued by the monstrous parasites of the path that fill them with their transformative blood of the beast. They form into great hunting packs, using both human weapons as well as their claws and teeth as they fall upon those who strive to maintain order. Some advance further on the path through acts of feral frenzy and are able to capture an essence of the beast, a mighty wolf or venomous snake, a great horned goat, or other powerful carnivore. Among these great predators, the lesser creatures of the path gather, and in an orgasmic rush of violence they assault the forces of order. Remote hamlets and isolated villages are often targeted by the packs of the beast. Once the pack grows strong enough in its area, it no longer hides. Instead, it goes to war. Its power waxes great during appointed times, and especially when the moon casts its spell over the world. But not all areas where the path hunts are in the wilds. No Man's Land is teeming with the horrors of the path who hunt humans for food, for sport, and for the glory of the beast. Packs of the path are led by horned priests, ancient ones who have followed the path for many centuries, evolving ever further from humanity while still retaining an outer form that can fool most observers. They are known for great cunning and twisted wisdom, able to match even the generals of New Antioch and Peshav the Sultanate in planning. Their acumen for the mastery of tactics and strategies has given rise to disturbing rumours that another race, much like man but of deeper and subtler wisdom, once roamed the earth before Adam and Eve were banished from the garden. Priests claim that they have walked the path of the beast beyond the veil where creation began and discovered the wisdom and glory denied to mortals. Mortals who are doomed to grovel and pray to an uncaring god. Alrighty, Path of the Beast lore, which is pretty dope. I know we've all been waiting for some kind of hint as to what the Path of the Beast is. We've all been headcanoning stuff and trying to figure stuff out and all the rest of it. But here we go. So they are tying the beast basically directly to revelations from what we can tell. Or at least that is what this heavily implies. The Path of the Beast is another hell faction. It is not as I personally, if I'm honest, was hoping. I thought it was going to be some kind of like primeval, primordial, hinting at things that existed long before God. And while that is still in here to a degree, the implication is that it's a degree of like subterfuge or superstition or whatever. And this is once again another hell faction. It's the beast, as you would all consider the beast to be in hell. Now, is it cool as shit? Yes, it is. Once again, it's another really interesting batch of lore that I really quite like. I really like the idea of they kind of come to you in your dreams almost. Like there's no respite, right, from the desire to get away, and they prey on that. They prey on your weakness. They prey on the fact that they know that they're turning the world into something that is unfit to be experienced by things with the limitations of most humans, and they're not going to be able to take it. And they come and they you must willingly admit to that weakness and admit that you can't deal with it and turn your back on salvation because you can't take what's happening right now. It's really, really interesting. I could get pretty deep on how it's somewhat like allegorical, I think, for a lot of the problems that people go through in life. The short periods, hopefully often, short, not long anyway, the short periods of extreme difficulty that people can go to can really change you. And they can turn you into a thing that you might not necessarily want to be, frankly. And I find that is interestingly mirrored here. This is also the second time this week, I'm not sure why, that I've come across something that puts me in mind of what's called Descartesian dualism, which was the kind of philosophical theory that the soul and the body are separate things. When you think of a human being, you might think of like the totality of them, right? They're one thing. You're a human being and you have your soul and you have your mind. But Descartesian dualism kind of takes on the concept that you can, your soul is one thing and your body is another thing, and they can interact, yes. They can exist together and whatnot, but they are very separate, very different entities. This definitely kicks that in the bollocks, as far as if you like to think about the philosophy and or philosophies that are explored a little bit in Trench Crusade. It's not all about, theology at the end of the day. And this definitely kicks that in the nuts, because the body very much follows the soul. Here, I would feel the strong implication is that it's the totality of a human being is that one thing. Your soul and your body are the same. They're intermingled. They are completely dependent on each other, I want to say. They're completely connected to each other. And that would also back up what's hinted at by the Metachrists, because I'm reasonably of the opinion that with the Metachrists, they can clone the body of Christ, however it is that they go about doing that, whatever their source is for that DNA. It's something that they're capable of doing. But, Christ's soul, if you will, isn't on earth, it's in heaven. They can't clone the soul. So they clone this body of Christ. The body is an empty, malformed husk of the thing that is supposed to contain the body of Christ, or the soul of Christ, but it doesn't. So yeah, Descartesian dualism, read about it if you want to, or you might not care. But that's what I'm getting off this. And as I said, it's weird. This is the second time this week that I've had something hint to me one way or the other about Descartesian dualism. So I might want to reread about it, I guess. But yeah, it sounds super interesting. I'm really curious to see where they go with the design of this. I was very much wondering, would they do almost pure melee faction where you just have to like completely commit to closing the distance and getting it done? I think that would be very difficult to do with game balance, but I think it would have been very interesting to see. But we know that they're not now. We know that some of the supplicants maintain there's enough of their human forms to use human weapons, and that the horned priests, from what I can gather here, will essentially look human and lead with human decision making, as opposed to just being, led by like a dog or a fox or a bear or whatever it is. So there will definitely be lots of the standard weapons, I guess, standard ranged weapons, melee weapons that we are used to in the factions. Now, by far, I think the most interesting thing was the ruins. And the ruins, to me, hints at a really fun, if not magic system, then definitely some kind of buff system, where you think about the runes that you want to put on your guys. Maybe it will be a growth or extrapolation of the concept of fire teams, where, you're making words basically out of the runes that the supplicants have, and depending on the word that you make out of them, you will get different buffs, perhaps, or different abilities, or things of that nature. It's implied to be a kind of a, or at least the way my brain wants to think about it, is as a kind of a passive magic system, as opposed to an active magic system. And hopefully, I think it would make it really fun, perhaps interruptible. So if you've got a word and I clip one of the guys with the runes, then the word is, no longer works the way that you think it would, because that rune is gone. I don't know. That is not anything I could possibly know. That is just speculation. So yeah, overall, I think the lore is really fun and really interesting. It's definitely nice to see the contrast. I guess I don't know if I perceive the beast getting caught up in too much of the politics of hell. I feel like they probably don't care all that much about the rest of hell. And Beelzebub really does, I feel, care about the rest of hell. It's very important to Beelzebub that the rest of hell bows down to Beelzebub at some point. I get that feeling. And members of the court are all absolutely fucking obsessed with themselves. I think the beast doesn't care. I think that whole thing about the beast slumbering and allowing its power to really like wane on Earth is that's really interesting. Basically, the implication is that it just has not really given that much of a fuck. It was just resting, maybe, or just kind of chilling. I've always maintained that one of the things that people often misinterpret around hell in Trench Crusade is that hell has eternity. Like, the gate has only been open 8 centuries or so. That's nothing as far as hell is concerned. That is 5 minutes. Like, they've got forever. And we also kind of shouldn't jump to conclusions about what hell's end game is. I don't think hell has a shared end game. I don't think hell would have a shared end game. Do you want Earth to suffer? Yes. Do you want it to be destroyed? No. Are there probably elements in hell that want to destroy it? Yes. Are there probably elements in hell that would stop them if they could? Yes. It's a very interesting, multifaceted war globe, ball, whatever, that they want to roll around the place. And really what they want to do is inflict as much pain and suffering as possible. And the best way to do that is to drag the war onwards. The beast is potentially going to be interesting because I think the beast would literally just have absolutely everybody on the planet become a beast if it could. It gives that kind of vibe. It describes it as it found the world overrun with the hated children of Yahweh. Does that imply that the beast has some kind of vested interest in the natural? Like, if you remove humans, is there some kind of like element at play there with like animals and nature and things like that it can still feed from and take power from? No idea, but it's interesting. Anyway, now I'm really starting to ramble. I'm going to go. Thank you so much for watching. As always, huge thank to the entire Factory Fortress team who work on this game for us and keep us entertained with these lore drops. It's awesome. All the best.